All right, we shall get started. Hello, everybody. We're going to get started with our 90-day burst call. This is the third one of the series, and we're real excited about some of the results that we're seeing with the team that's jumping in, and getting stuck into it. We got a lot of great things today. And first of all, just to start off, we'd like to welcome the panelists that have joined us. Of course, Melissa and I. I think everybody knows who we are, Bart and Melissa Kotter. But let's see, we've got Allison Prenzik, who's joined us as one of the panelists as well, Silver Associate from Sydney. South of Sydney. And we've got Mr. Steve Aquilina, another Silver Associate from the Sydney area. We've got Daya Nyloff has jumped on the line with us, Platinum from Queensland, and Sepp and Jeska from sorry, Jeska. We got Sepp and Jeska from also from Queensland, from the Noosa area here as well, Platinum Associates. Mr. Ed Weens, our sponsor, Double Diamond Associate from North Carolina, and our special guest co-host today would be Mr. John Bash, gold level associate, well on his way to presidential triple diamond, and going to share some great words of wisdom with us today as well.
You're still in California, John?
Oh, you're muted, John.
Maybe it's not working. Unmute.
Yeah, I am. I'm about 4 miles from where I was.
Oh, okay. That's easy. Perfect.
All right. Excellent.
Well, as we had mentioned, the ongoing theme that we're doing with this 90-day burst is keeping it along the A-LIFT acronym. So today is L for living list. So we're going to dig into your contact list and different parameters around that and look at what you're doing, what you're not doing, and John's going to provide some insight and a bit of an explanation in a minute, given his background on the importance of having a list and using it. So as far as, we'll do recognition in just a second, as far as the review of last week, the recorded videos will be on our website, hopefully by this afternoon, for the previous week, so you can send them out and play catch-up mode if you need to. But last week we had A for Attitude, and we featured Ed Weens as our guest speaker. And you'll remember he had mentioned that a great way of getting into state is to pre-play and then replay. So checking in during the week, have you made a conscious effort to pre-play the wins, the successes, the great moments in your life, and then make them real by replaying them in the moment to really get into state? Because we're all winners, we've all achieved. It's a matter of changing our story and our mindset every day to remember that, you know, we can do this, to know who we are and move forward from that position. So the other thing is buddy and mentor calls. Are you communicating with your buddy? Are you talking to your mentor? Have you got them in place? It's really, really crucial to have that support. And your organisation coaching reports, the document and a how-to video is uploaded on our website, which is ourtbg.com, OURTBG.com. TBG stands for Team Builders Global. And that'll show you how to fill it in. Start filling in this afternoon, week 2, so you can get familiar with those forms. These are forms you'll be going through with your people and duplicating. So the other thing, have you downloaded your SoundCloud app and are you listening to the Charge Up calls? That's extremely important every day. And a quicker notice, Eric Warre on networkmarketingpro.com, he has his GoPro book and the Rise of the Entrepreneur books for $5 until the 29th of August. So that's $5 US. By the way, welcome to all our US associates and crossline members and all of you participants on these calls. We really put these up for you. We're excited you can join us from all around the world. No Olympic digs this weekend. You did win the medal tally. Anyway, let's see. So without going into anything else, I'd love to hand over to John Bash. And John, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself for people who aren't aware of who you are and your experience, we'd really appreciate that, and take the time you need to discover the topic at hand.
That actually could be a long story, so I'll just keep it short. About almost 3 decades in this industry. I've been involved probably around 8 or 9 maybe network marketing programs. I have had 3 that you would consider a home run. So they're not, it's not always the right time, the right product, the right whatever for everybody. And I think that it's the journey of learning the steps to succeed in this industry. And, I guess after you've had success in this industry, and I know Bart and Melissa, you guys are enjoying some great success here, it becomes incumbent upon you to try to share that information back, to sort of pay it forward from what you've learned, to help shorten the learning curve of those other folks that are stepping into the industry. And because there's a lot of people that come to a business like ASEA that have never been involved in network marketing. And I think we'd all be a little jealous about that. Oh, look whose face is on the screen, the one who makes me laugh always.
Morning, John.
It's an interesting process because we all go through it, and there's ups, there's downs, there's times when things are flat, there's times when things go really well, and you get through it if you have that attitude. And I think it's the attitude that you develop over the term of your involvement in network marketing makes the difference. And pretty much for me too. Fortunately for me, in my very first network marketing company at the age of 20, I had a home run right off the top. Literally at 20 years old, I was making between $25,000 and $30,000 a month. Had a Rolls Royce in my second year. I mean, life was pretty good, but I've always said, I spent that money like I was going to the electric chair. It was just going out as fast as it was coming in. And that was a learning process. And then I had a couple of entries into the industry that didn't work so well. Products or management, something went sideways, and then moved on. And things just progress. So I'm just here today to try to help and try to pass on information that I've learned over time, so that the folks out there don't make all the mistakes that I've made, because I think I've made every mistake you could possibly make in this industry. I haven't heard of one that I haven't made. I've talked too much. I've thrown up all over people. I've done virtually anything and everything that you could do wrong, and have learned in that journey. So hopefully today we can embark on something that might be helpful along this line of building or making a list.
Well, I think we've all learned lessons the hard way. I heard someone say that anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly first. So you just got to get in and get after it and get it done. But from our perspective, certainly, John, you've been the trainers, the leader of the leaders, and so we're excited to hear some of your words of wisdom in terms of making a list, getting started right, who you're looking for.
Because you approach your business, John, in a very systems-oriented way, don't you?
I do. Because, systems, if you're using a system that's simple and easy to do, it'll duplicate, because people are not duplicatable. I mean, in my world, from a sales standpoint, I'm a great salesperson. I've had people tell me I could sell ice to Eskimos. I've had people back in the day tell me I could sell airplanes to Braniff when they were going out of business. So I am a good salesman, but that's not duplicatable. And unfortunately, I went through times when I was trying to get people to do what I was doing and realized that wasn't a workable process. And Bart said something just a second ago about getting good at something. I think that's a key factor for people to understand, that they aren't going to be very good at any of this the first few times they do it. It's not going to work the way they want. They have to have an attitude to stick to it, because they will get better the more they do it. And just like anything, everybody that's listening today is good at something, but they weren't good at that the first time they did it. It took, because they were interested in it and they committed themselves to it, they got good at it. And the same thing will happen here. So with respect to the list, I mean, is that, you want me to jump into that now and talk about? Okay, sure. Building a list is literally, everybody needs to understand, it's like your resource. It's where you're going to start. If you are a contractor and you were going to build a house, of course your resources would be your workers and your materials. Well, for us, in the network marketing industry, because this is a people business, without a list, you're going nowhere. You could end up with some customers going attending trade shows or things of that nature and selling product. But if you're going to build a business here, the list is a starting point. It's your Rolodex. It's where you're going to derive your business. Basically, it's the genesis of your recruiting process, because your recruiting process is not going to be very good if you don't have a target market planned out. And I think it's very important for people to understand that. And usually when a person gets started in this industry, the simplest place to start to build a list is, of course, in their own circle of contacts. The number one place to find, obviously, to find people for this industry, and we'll get into that a little deeper in a minute or two, is, of course, people that have already had networking experience. Because when you've got people that you know that have networking experience, obviously that's one hurdle you don't have in trying to attract them to whatever you're offering. But it all begins with the idea and the understanding that you're going to start recruiting, but you can't recruit until you have this list. And you start with the people that you know and meet and work with on a daily basis. And I think, the things that are so important is that when you are building a list, is that initially you're not thinking about, oh, this person would be good or that person would be good. You're thinking about, who do I know? Because you want to make this list of a minimum of 100 names, and there's a lot of reasons for that, some psychological. But you make this giant list. You just sit down and think, who do I know? And who have I met through this person and that person? And you just write down the names. And not that you're ever going to be able to reach to all those people, but there will be names that you would not have written down if you don't think of another person first, because somebody else may have introduced you. So you've got to start with that list. And then in my mind, once you've got the list and you're building this list, then is when you're going to go back and decide who you're going to be calling first, because you're going to start, in effect, categorizing them by the characteristics that each individual has. But it's extremely important up front that you have a large list, and especially when you're bringing a new person into this business. Okay, when you bring a brand new person in here, typically if you just tell them to go build a list, and you tell them they need a list of at least 100 names, or they should have at least a list of 100 names, and you give them a memory jogger, and you send them off, they're going to come back with a list of about 8 or 10. And the reason for that is they're going to immediately think of, who do they know that they think they can get into this business? And that is a huge mistake. A person needs to start off with that big list. And the way that you can really help them develop that list is to get on the phone or get in person and walk them through the process. Again, so part of the system that I do, and I like to do with the people I recruit, is I'll get on the phone and I'll have a memory jogger in front of me, and I'll have a blank piece of paper in front of me, and as they're mentioning names, I'm writing them down too. And I'm writing them down because then I can ask questions about that person to help them determine who they should be calling first, instead of letting them pick. Because I don't really want them to start off with the people they believe they have some influence over, unless that person I'm talking to is already super successful and really understands what we're doing here. Because we've all heard the term chicken list. And that chicken list is the one that those people are afraid to call. But actually, those are the ones I want them to call first, because of two reasons. One, they'll have a better chance of getting somebody in the business that can do something right away, which means they'll have some success right away. But that also creates success for the person I'm helping build the list. So it really is incumbent upon each of us as a sponsor. I like to call it your responsibility to that individual, where you sit down and you walk them through. You say, okay, who do you know that? And you just ask questions off that memory jogger and start sparking their imagination to remember names. And as they start putting them down, you just keep going. You don't let them stop and talk about a particular individual. You just keep going. No, okay, we got that name. Let's go to another. Let's just keep going. We'll keep going. And it might take you an hour, or it might even take you longer. You might have to invest a little of your own time in that person. But remember, if they've invested their time in you in this business, you can afford to invest back into them, because ultimately that person could be the difference for you financially. there's two ways people go about this business. Some people come in and they just go out and try to recruit one after another, and really never plug those people in or never sit down and really train them on what they need to do. That works for some people, but especially in the short term. What's going to work in the long term is staying focused on people who have the key characteristics that you want them to have. And those characteristics, in my mind, are 5 basic characteristics. People with good people skills. That means the person is warm, open, easy to talk to. It's the kind of person that, for example, if you went to a party and there's, let's say, 50 people in the room, if you walked into a room like that and you just stopped and observed what was going on in that party, you would see about 3 or 4 of those 50 people are kind of sitting in a spot where people are around them and they're talking to those people. They sort of have the attention of the others. Those are people with good people skills. So if I was going to some event or a Chamber of Commerce mixer, I assume maybe you have something similar to that in Australia, or meetup groups or anything like that. That would be the first thing I would do. I'd observe first. I'd look around to see who is getting the attention of everybody else, because those are people with good people skills. So I would make an X in my mind, a mental X on their forehead. I'm talking to that person before I get out of here. Then I want to know, is the person reliable? Do they do what they say that they're going to do? And I'm going to ask these questions of my person after we've built the list. Okay, so we're going to sit down and we're going to take person number 1. Is this person, what's their people skills like? Because typically if you gave your new recruit a chart, which in my Fast Start guide, I created a chart for that purpose where they could put down the names and then whether they have these 5 key characteristics. The average person is going to give just about everybody in their Rolodex an X or a plus for all those 5 characteristics because they give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be a little more picky about that. I'm going to say, okay, tell me, why is this person reliable? What have they done in your experience with them that shows that that they'll do what they say they're going to do? Then we get to credible. Is this person credible? Do they have that type of a relationship with the people they know that if they pick up the phone and call somebody that they'd have some influence? Does this person credible? Are they industrious? What type of things have they already done in life that's successful? What type of, it's the type of people you're looking for, the people that, they don't have to be already successful, but they're the people that are putting out a lot of effort in the attempt to be successful. We all know those kind of people. They're working 2 or 3 jobs. They're working their fingers to the bone, trying to make ends meet. They're willing to do those things that other people aren't willing to do. It gives you a good indication of those kinds of people. But coachable is a big one. If the person is not coachable, you're in trouble. I mean, you've got everybody, we all have them. We bring people into our business and they've got a lot of these key characteristics, but they're not coachable. No matter what we tell them, no matter what we say to them, they're going to do it their way. And unfortunately, that's not duplicatable in the long term. It's just not going to work. So in the world of network marketing, one of the things I think everybody that's listening needs to remember and understand is that it's not how many associates or distributors that you have in your organization that matters. It's how many key people you have in your organization. That's what matters, because it's the key people that want this business as badly as you do. They work as hard as you do, and they work with you to make that happen. There's a team process that goes together, and you're able to, get a lot more done in that process because of that. Because, people all the time, and you guys, I'm sure, get this experience as well, Bart and Melissa, and obviously Seth and Jessica and John. And I heard Ed's name mentioned. I think he's getting cut on today, or something's going on in his dental work, or he's cutting something off his body. I know he's got something going on. But in any event, we all get asked this question: how many people you got in your organization? Well, anybody that asks me that tells me they don't know a whole lot about this industry. They should be asking the question, how many key people do you have? And if I was asking the two of you how many key people you have, you know exactly who those key people are. Those are the people that you're supporting you're spending most of your time with. And that's the way this is ultimately going to play out for this new person that we're trying to help them build this list. We want them to know that the day is going to come when 80% of their time will be spent with those 20% of the people that are creating all the business in their organization. And unfortunately, too many people have the attitude that, well, if those people are doing so well, if I go try and help the ones that aren't doing so well, I'll do better. No, that's not the way it works. The whole thing will start dipping down when you do that. When you get into that management mode with trying to help other people, because there's a reason those other people aren't doing well. And it usually starts between their ears. They haven't gotten a mindset yet that they're here to succeed. They'll do what they have to do to succeed. And until we can get that in between those ears, it's going to be a difficult journey for that person, because this can be an easy road or it can be a tough road, and everybody gets to make that choice. And usually the people that are making it a tough road is they're trying to do too much of what they think they should do instead of following the system the team has implemented. It wouldn't be there if it didn't work. And to come into a business like this, and I've made this mistake, and I assume everybody listening has probably made it at some point or not, where you'll step into a business like this and you want to do it your way because you think you know better. Well, the reality of it is, it's not my way. It's not their way. It's the right way. There's only one way that this is going to work. And if they don't follow that way, it is not going to work. And they could save themselves a whole lot of heartache and frustration if they would just listen and follow the simple plan. Don't try to add your own little tweak to it, because that's personalizing it, and that's not going to duplicate, no matter how good it is. It might work just for you, but don't make it part of the system that your team is doing, because the team is not going to be able to duplicate it. But building the list is the very first step, really. After a person has set their goals and start building a plan of what they want to accomplish, they've got to put this list together. And again, I encourage every sponsor out there that's listening today, and all that will listen to this as a recorded message, it is incumbent upon you to help your new member build the list and not just tell them to go do it. Because when you walk them through and you ask the questions out of those memory joggers, trust me when I tell you, there will be names that go on that list that would never have been there had you not asked that question. And it only takes one or two people, and that person can be a superstar in this industry. And it is the number of superstars you create that you help build, because it's going to be their effort. But it's the number of superstars in your group that determines whether you climb the ladder here or not. It's not what you do. And just remember, we have a network. We don't build the network. We build the people. They build the network because they become the network. And it's like the examples I've shown in the past were pictures of a pipeline. It's exactly what we're doing. Our network is people where we're pumping product through those people to the end consumer, whoever is using those products. And in this case, it's the ASEA product line. And when you've built a quality network, if the world blew up and everything went sideways, you'd still have a network that could continually generate revenue for you for the rest of your life. So the list is the key factor, and the most important factor, again, is you helping somebody build it instead of telling them to build it. You'll have a much faster growth rate, and then when you focus it down to the 5 or 10 top people in that list, and then you help that person make those calls to those first 5 or 10 people, the chances are that person's going to have major success in their first 30 to 45 days. And that means that you've taught them in the process how to do it. They'll be able to duplicate what you did for them, because that's the only thing they're going to know to do. And that's the difference, a difference maker in this industry. And again, it's not my information. It's what I had to learn the hard way. It's information that's been in this industry for decades. So, I think that's the point on building a list, and hopefully that makes a lot of sense to the folks that are listening.
No, that's some brilliant advice, John. And
our advice is listen to John.
That's right. there's a couple ways. You basically dialed it in on how you're looking for, your radar is on looking for people are people of influence. I've heard, you can look for pearls, and pearls would stand for people, entrepreneurs, achievers, people who are leaders. Would be L for leaders, people who are successful. But I like how the Aussies say it. We're looking for people who are switched on. Some people a little more.
I like that.
You
I like that too. I'll remember that.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. And we do have our fears. We tend to look for people who are at our socioeconomic level or below, because it's scary to talk to those people who are, perhaps above that. But that's where to use the three-way phone calls, to use the upline, to that added credibility. And I know that you use that a lot. The one thing I just maybe just kind of emphasize is the idea of a living list as well, to constantly add to that.
Well, it is. Your list is a living list, because as you're going through the people you're talking to, you're going to be meeting other people. So you're going to constantly be updating that list. That list is, you're never finished. Built in this industry, if you're going to be a top leader, you will never stop building a list, because recruiting, or prospecting is a better term in my mind for recruiting, because I don't know about you, or I'm sure it fits you, but there's a lot of people out there. Recruiting to them means I want to get as many people as I can. Again, that's not what we're looking for. Some people I don't want in my organization because they're pains in the butt. We all know, we all know those kind of people, and those people suck the life out of you. And you get on the phone with them, and they're always complaining, they're always whining, and life is this, it's horrible. I don't have time for that. And until they get out of that mindset, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to pull them out of that. They've got to make that determination. But you're talking about, you said fear. The one thing about fear that everybody really needs to grasp is the fear that you don't own owns you. And the reality of it is, if you don't step into those fears, you'll never get good at what you're trying to do. You've got to step into it, and you just got to say, I'm going to go do this. If it doesn't work, okay, I'll get better. I'll keep doing it until I get better. And because that list and the recruiting process and finding those key leaders is a journey. How many times have you had this? I get this a lot, where people say to me, I'm going to go find myself 5 leaders. And my response is, well, what do they look like? Because if you know exactly what they look like, tell me, because I'd love to go find those people as well. Because in this industry, a lot of times you're going to develop a leader. You're empowering somebody to bring out what they have inside of them. It's almost like your children. If you're raising children, your job is not to mold those children, it's to unfold them, to help them become what they're capable of becoming. And you do that through the support, through the journey of you demonstrating what it is they should be doing, because you've shown them what to do instead of just told them what to do. Because we all have learned the most important lessons in our life by watching other people do something, or somebody has shown us how to do something. Because you can do anything if somebody will show you. I don't know a lot about building a house. I've got an idea. But if I walked into a construction project and I walked up to the main contractor and said, hey, I'd like to help you frame this house. And he said, okay, well, why don't we'll start tomorrow. I said, well, great, do me a favor, frame this one section so I can see exactly how you want it done. And I'd be able to do it. But I'd have to see it first. And the same thing happens here. We learned how to walk by watching other people walk, and it looked like a whole lot better than when we were crawling around on the floor. People taught us how to ride a bike. They held onto the seat and ran beside us. Your brother, your sister, your aunt, your mom, somebody did that. And everything that we've really learned, we've watched it happen first, and then we got good at it. And so we've got to take that leadership role and be the champion for that person we sponsor. Champion them to the point that they're successful. because once you get them there, they'll know what to do. But it's that journey between, you know, we're the bridge between where they are and where they want to go. And, you know, bridges are designed to make the impassable passable. And that's what we are. We are a bridge. It's our job to bridge that person. That person says, this is what I want on a monthly basis. And I don't care if they say $500 a month or $20,000 a month. Whatever they say, I want to help them get that. Because if I can help them get whatever they want, they're going to go that much further. But it all starts with the list and me showing them what to do, me helping them build that list. And when I help them build the list, two things happen. One, it's going to be a bigger list than they would have done. Two, I get to ask them questions and pull out of that list their number one prospects that I know that they should be talking to based on the characteristics we go through. And then three, if I work with them on there, I can get rid of that fear you were talking about, because I'll go on that phone with them if necessary. I can jump on the phone and call their buddy and their friend and, you know, it's, hey, Bart, my name's John Bash. You know, we've never met before. I'm on the phone with our mutual good friend, you know, Ed Weens. And Ed and I were sitting here talking about this project we're working on, and your name came up. So I wonder if you've got a couple of minutes for us to chat with you and tell you what this project's all about and see if you might have an interest in it. It gives me the ability to take away their fear of reaching out to that person, because I don't know that, even if I've only been around 2 months, that person doesn't know me, so I've got no reason to be fearful of them. And I can step up and take that bold role and show that new person how to do it. And guess what happens? All of a sudden, if we talk to 5 key people and only get 2, and we do that in the first 2 weeks of time, now they've got their director bonus, they've got some money in their pocket, they're feeling good, I'm feeling good, business is going well, everybody's happy. And best of all, those new people have the better chance of succeeding because they have those characteristics. And maybe they have built a business before. And a person who will recognize this opportunity faster than someone who hasn't. So it's kind of a big cycle, you know, it's like the circle of life. It's just this big circle. But you've got to, if you're going to go bass fishing, you can't go in a trout lake. You got to go fish for bass. You're looking for those key people. And the best way to get to them is you call them out of that Rolodex to that new member. And when you do that, the new member ultimately goes, wow, this does work. They get all excited, and you've got a new person that potentially can change the dynamic of your whole team.
Well,
seems simple, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well spoken. I love, John, the catchphrase. I'd love everyone to write that down somewhere and have it close by all week. Responsibility. It's fantastic, and really it sums up what you're saying, because we all have responsibilities, and are we doing our part to be that, to take responsibility for the living lists of our new people? And Bart and I watched a Tony Robbins clip during the week. This is another statement to write down. I refuse to negotiate with my mind. And that really caught our attention, because that's when the fears come in. That's when we second guess ourselves. Don't negotiate with your mind. Get out there and do it. It makes life so much easier. So,
that's right.
Thank you, John. We'll shift into, oh yeah.
I just wanted to mention a couple things. In fact, just on some coaching calls that I've been doing here recently, you know, everybody needs to start with a list. And like you said, John, sometimes people, you know, they just their list is 10 people. They need to expand that list. And there's no, you know, you can not just to start your business, but you can also relaunch your business as well. So in fact, that's, you know, a place where we're doing is putting some new people in right now with this 90-day program as well. Now, you talked about a memory jogger. There's no better memory jogger that I've seen than the one that Eric Worre puts out. And this is in the emails that we send out. I would recommend that you just get it spiral bound. And the idea is to, I mean, this is so thorough. He just asks, you know, where do you know people from different states, from different industries, from different things that you've done. It just really helps to jog your memory and make your list as big as possible. Just do a mind dump. I mean, who are the products for? They're for everybody who's got cells. Now, the business may not be for everybody, but you know, people can lead you to people as well. So, you know, when you're talking to people, and you always want to be adding to the list too. And we've asked Sepp to come on, and just because he's been using this memory jogger quite effectively as well. Do you have that? Do you have your list there, Sepp?
Yeah, sure do. I just want to add something what John mentioned about education. My mum and dad were my greatest teachers and leaders, and they taught. My dad always said that to educate is to draw out or bring out the best of within, and not to stuff in. And also, my mum and dad always led by example. So they monkey see, monkey do. So talking about leadership, it was about drawing out the best. And my dad always led that way for all of us 10 kids. But yeah, we've got our memory jogger here. I actually have three of these going. We've got a few thousand names list here. It just keeps going. This is one of three of the memory joggers that we've got. I use my diary. I've got stuff on my computer. And then, as Bart just said, at the end of the day, we're in this business to put this product, this technology on people that's going to change their lives. It's going to have an impact. And I think if we keep that in the forefront of our mind and we don't prejudge people, because as Melissa always says, you know, there's when we really take the time to listen to people, their story will present itself once they're given an opportunity to be heard. And those kind of lists, it's a different kind of list because we've built the relationship in another way because we've had the time and the conversation. So again, this is valuable. We use it every day. We use it everywhere. We've got it in our diaries, but it's people that we meet every day. We've got a technology that's going to change their life in so many different ways. So please don't ever prejudge somebody, because we don't know who we're going to bump into that could change our life. So we swear by it.
Thanks.
Also, when it comes to the list, so far we've very much been talking about the product. When you make your list, and don't prejudge, and because there's people looking for the vision and the opportunity. So make sure you think about that when you write your list.
That's true. That's so true. We share the vision of what ASEA is, this breakthrough, this global expansion, and you know, the breakthrough is the most exciting thing on the planet. We're passionate about it, and when people can hear your passion, they want to be a part of your list.
Definitely. Thank you both so very much. And it's having that list on you all the time, which I know you do. And for those of you who aren't sure where to get the download, it is networkmarketingpro.com/memory jogger. That's where you can get that spiral bound book. You can print it off and collate it. Now we have Genie as well, the Genie software program that ASEA has launched, who's our virtual coach, where you can contain your lists. Some people have customer management lists. They use Excel, a tickler file, a hard copy file, whatever it is that you use, add to it and keep it all in one place so that it's easy to refer to and you can have it on you always. So I'll just digress for a quick second. If anyone else on the panel would like to share very briefly what they use, what works for them, that would be fantastic. So feel free to do so. Nobody wants to share? Okay.
Melissa?
Yeah, hi Stevie.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Good. Hey, you brought up Genie, and you know, I think that Genie is absolutely fantastic, and Genie will actually, you know, John was talking about, you know, getting out the memory jogger and using that to, you know, prompt someone to put together a list. What I find is Genie is actually set up, it will prompt you to prompt your people to set up their list, because when you help someone set up Genie for the first time, it's going to go through, you know, what their why is, what they want to achieve, and it will get them straight into it'll go through the A-Lift process, and it'll get them into their list. So if you're actually sitting down with your new team members and helping them set up Genie, it's prompting you to prompt them to set up their business. So yeah, Genie's fantastic. And for whatever reason, and for however long, I don't know, but Genie in Australia and New Zealand is free. So there's really no excuse not to get on there and utilize it.
Thanks, Stevie. Absolutely, and it's there for all of our benefits. So I know you've had great success with that and you use that regularly. So thanks for sharing, Stevie. Really appreciate it. To summarise what John Bash has said and shared with us, and John, we're so fortunate to be able to gain 3 decades worth of experience, and we know you do what you say you do. So thank you very much for joining us. I hope everyone replays this video from this week, this webinar recording, and send it to your new people, because you can't put a price on that advice that John's given us. So make sure you get this webinar out to your team. I wanted to back up what John said with a recap from Eric Worre, simply because as part of this 90-day burst, we're referring to his book Go Pro. And so I'll do a quick screen share here and bring up a recap of what he's been saying, which also goes along hand in hand with what John has said.
So what are our 5 strategies? Strategy number 1 is start today with an active candidate list. I hope at the end of this video you download the special Ultimate Memory Jogger workbook that will help you create that active candidate list and help you with this process. There's great training in there. It's absolutely free. My gift to you, networkmarketingpro.com/memory jogger. Okay? So your active candidate list is number 1. Number 2, constantly expand that list. Number 3, raise your awareness. Pay attention to what's going on in the world. Number 4, never prejudge as you're building your prospect pool of people to talk to. Never prejudge. That's not your job. And number 5, network on purpose.
So there's a summary of what Eric says, and to expand on that just a little bit here, do you mind fixing the screen?
Yeah.
Stop sharing, probably. Sorry, just 1 second. To expand on that just a little bit, download that video. It's called 5 Steps to Unlimited Prospects. You can find it on YouTube if you want to do a recap, some homework after today. With the active candidate list, Eric puts it down into, he says, this isn't names you scratch out on the back of an envelope or on a legal pad. He said, every single person you know, sit down and think of it as if you're being paid $1,000 for every person you put on the list. So really put thought into it. And empty your minds on a piece of paper, which we've spoken about. Number 2, constantly expand your list. He says, set yourself up for a discipline of 2 people a day. You don't need to prospect them the moment you meet them. So it's not about convincing people or forcing yourself on people, but be aware of that discipline. Raise your awareness. In this section, he talks about we're around people all day, and perhaps we really haven't developed the awareness, or we're not thinking about them first when it comes to who we could have networked with, who we could have potentially made a connection with. So he says, we're constantly given opportunities everywhere, and you need to recognize those opportunities when they present themselves. He says, collect friends and expand your friendships. And he considers himself to be introverted. He says, for introverted people, you really need to remind yourself to get out there and be a citizen of the world. He says a lot of people in the top of this industry are introverts. You need to get out there. You need to get out of your house. We've all heard several times the common theme of never prejudge. John mentioned write a list of minimum of 100 people. He says don't prejudge if people don't have enough money, or if they're too successful, if they wouldn't want the products. He says you don't know what's going on in someone's life. They may be praying for an opportunity. He also mentions for wealthy people, perhaps they're bored. Perhaps they're looking for something else. You just don't know. He says give people an opportunity to make the decision if this is for them or not. And when it comes to network on purpose, I really love how he says, be a citizen of the world, join some groups, but more importantly, you go out there with a servant's heart and really serve people in the community. That's where it's at the end of the day, and that's what we put down. So that's also, if you wanted to do a review, page 31 of Eric's GoPro book, he divides people in network marketing into 3 groups. They're posers, amateurs, and professionals. And he says when it comes to finding prospects, posers make a mental list of 3, 4, or 5 people they hope will join their business, and their entire future is based on the response of those people. And I know some of you can really smile at this comment because it's so true, we've experienced it. He says 80% of all people who join network marketing approach their business with the poser mentality. Hopefully they'll stop being a poser and upgrade to an amateur, or the amateur rank. He says instead of a small mental list, these people make a written list which is a step in the right direction. They charge out there with excitement, but not with a lot of skill. And so this is where John's advice on your responsibility and holding their hand, doing this list with them, really helps them get out of the amateur phase and move into the professional phase. So getting back to the amateur phase, they charge out there with excitement, their list starts to diminish, and the smaller it grows, their anxiety levels get higher and higher. And we've all seen that too. So their biggest fear is running out of people to talk to, and they often view their list as their ticket to wealth. And then he says, when you commit to becoming a professional in your network marketing business, you realize successful people, and you approach finding people to talk to as one of their core skills. One of successful people in network marketing, the way I've printed it out wrong, the way he words it is they approach people as a core skill that they absolutely need to have. They're not worried about finding people to talk to or running out of their list. The professionals start with a written list and then create an active candidate list, which we've heard about. And Eric was challenged personally by a mentor called Harvey McKay. And this is when he made his switch from amateur to professional. And Harvey McKay is the author of motivational books, but he says, take every person you meet, get their contact details, and find a creative way to stay in touch. So he says, network on purpose, set your intention for the day and create a great day out of it. And that's his summary. So it's a really great place to review that in network marketing, or in GoPro, page 31 and above. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone else has any comments on what we're talking about briefly, because then I want to transition into recognition and wrap up. So yeah, thanks again. Okay. John Allen, you're very quiet today. I'm totally not used to this. And he's muted too.
No, I'm not muted.
I'm trying to find the unmute button. I've just found it. I find the three-way calls are the ones that really kill it. As John was saying before, it's amazing when you get on a three-way call and the person that's recommended just sits back and says yeah, or oh yeah, and that's as much as they need to do, and they feel so relaxed, and they're keen. Once they've done one or two, they're keen to get a list together, and that chicken list becomes a priority list, and that's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so now I found the unmute button. You're gonna have to keep your finger on the mute button. That's all I can say.
Bart has mysterious powers. He can mute you without you realising, John. Thanks for joining us, John.
Can I tell you a little story? And I know John Bash will appreciate this. I bought the lovely Andrea the biggest diamond ring you've ever seen. It is absolutely magnificent. And we haven't spoken for 5 weeks, but that was part of the deal.
We know she's been overseas. That's why you haven't spoken to her.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm waiting for that diamond ring. We're going to talk to her about that now. Back on track here for a second. So to recap in terms of a summary, last week we had spoken about the 30-30 challenge, 30 presentations, so one a day for 30 days, which really is a lot of fun. It's a no-brainer. It's a minimum. So check in with yourself and see how you're going with that, and see how your team's going with that, because it is a really fun challenge. And if you wanted to revisit that concept on YouTube, Eric Worre has 30 presentations in 30 days, so revisit that if you need to. Take the challenge that Eric Worre's mentors set out, Harvey, which is to find a creative way to stay in touch with the people that you are in proximity with every day, and create awareness. Be very conscious about who's around you and make that connection. So add to your list constantly and be a professional. Question yourself, have you been an amateur? Have you been a poser? Do you know posers and amateurs in your business that you can really help to become professional? So take a look at that. It's a fun way of breaking that down. And with upcoming events, we've, as you know, had these webinars Friday afternoon, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, 4 Mountain in the USA, and 8 AM Eastern Standard Time in Australia. 10 a.m. I believe in Auckland, New Zealand. So get people on. We have invaluable information that's expressed to us. Denny Robinson will be featuring next week, our upline ambassador Triple Diamond. She'll be talking about I for invite. So that's really going to be an exciting topic that she will be brilliant at. We have our Stratlink Leadership webinar for Australia, New Zealand, first Tuesday of the month, and the International Expansion webinar. We've been doing that weekly, and we're going to be doing it by three-way phone calls only at this stage.
Yeah, so we kind of covered it, so we're going to change from weekly. We don't really see the need to do that weekly at this point in time, so we'll just do those on a one-on-one or as needed basis.
Absolutely. We also have here in Mooloolaba, Sunshine Coast, Australia, Dexter Yates, who is a Sears 70-plus-year-old triathlete. She is competing in the World Ironman Championships. So she's coming out. She has agreed to do a presentation where there'll be Q&A. She's a lovely lady. So that is this coming Wednesday, the 31st of August at the Surf Club in Mooloolaba. Get as many people there as you possibly can. $10 associates guests for free. It'll be a phenomenal event. So let's get up close and personal with Dexter and see what makes this amazing woman tick. She's such an inspiration, and we have her right in her backyard here in Australia.
Short notice, but as soon as we found out she was going to be right in our own backyard, we thought, oh, we need to organize something so that we can hear from her. She's got a remarkable story. She was pretty much going to have to hang it up in terms of being a competitive athlete. She's she's on the world stage now, competing in the world championships right here in Australia. So it'd be fun to hear what her experience is.
Trish and Bob Schwenkler are coming out to Australia in November. Not all the venues have been set in stone yet. There's been difficulty around securing some of them. Having said that, they will definitely be in Cairns November 10th and also Sydney November 13th, which is a Sunday afternoon. So they're also going Brisbane, Melbourne, Hobart, Perth as well. So exciting times for us to have the Americans come down here and visit us. We always love that, and we haven't seen Trish in Australia for a lot of years, so it'll be great to catch up with her. Very quickly, an important part of these webinars is to acknowledge people who have rank advanced. I'll run through them briefly. Please pass on our congratulations to people in your team whose name we mentioned that may not be on the webinar today. So Director 700 from last week, we've got Nick Black, and we have Murray Trotman, as well as John Massey as well. Now, I believe John Massey's in the United States. So congratulations to the three of you for going Director 700 in your business. Director 300, we have Greg Ralston, Keith Buckley, Catherine Cusack. We have Farini Matilla and Bruce Porter, along with Zen Liu and Colleen Boyle. We have Jihao He and Wahine Aura Limited. So congratulations to all of you. And for fantastic achievements, we have emerging leader number 2 globally is Malcolm Sword here in Queensland. And top income earners?
Top income earner, Mr. Dan Doyle, made the top 10 income earners, number 7.
Yep, globally, which is so cool. So he's still in the EMP bonus, which is phenomenal for him. So we're very excited. So that's it for recognition. Really appreciate you all being on the line. And Ed, as John mentioned, had a little bit of surgery today. So he's in the peanut gallery. He's been very quiet, but he expressed through the chat box how much he appreciates all of us. And we wouldn't be here without him. So we're so grateful. Thank you so much, Ed. And I guess unless anyone has anything else they'd like to say, we'll see you same time, same place next week. So
could I just make a special announcement, Melissa?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Only because it's the first night, and the first night's always an important one. We're opening up a new meeting in Sydney, Sutherland Shire, next Wednesday, the 31st, 7:15 for a 7:30 start as usual. It'll be at the Tarrant Point Bowling Club. And just want to make a special announcement because it's our first one. It's important to kick it off right. Thank you.
On the calendar.
Thanks, Stevie. And that is on our Team Builders Global Calendar of Events, which you can download and also access through our website, tbg.com. So that's all the events that we have here in Australia, and we'll be adding the American ones as well.
So not only on that website, rtbg.com that Melissa mentioned, that you can download the calendar if you haven't done that, so that you know all the events that are happening. And also, I just want to point out that the PowerPoint presentation that we've been working on is there available. It's all scripted, so people know what to say, how to say it. There's 3 videos that you can download and insert into the PowerPoint presentation, as well as some other great things that are on there too. So, thanks everybody.
Thanks, John. Thank you, John. You are a legend. We appreciate you very much, and we'll see you next round. And thank you for all our associates and Crossline members, participants across the miles. We are really grateful that you all gather here to participate in this webinar. Thank you, panelists, and we'll see you soon. Have a fantastic week, and remember your responsibility. See you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Bart and Melissa. Thank you, John. Thank you, other John. Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.